Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome to another edition of Viewpoint, where we try to find out the habits and I think the little secrets of people who have really made a success of their entrepreneurial businesses and their journeys. My name is Jeremy Maggs, and today our topic of discussion is driving innovation in your business. Driving innovation in your business. It's so important. What do I mean by that? It's that recognition that any business that wants to thrive going forward has to understand that it is constantly changing in a very dynamic paradigm. And in order to stay ahead of the competition, you've got to keep thinking. You've got to keep developing ideas. You have to keep innovating. In just a moment, I'm going to talk to master innovator and serial entrepreneur Cabby Magongwa, who is the managing director of DarkChild Productions and CEO of the Pride Group, driving innovation in business. It's a conversation that I'm really looking forward to, and I hope you enjoy it. Cabby, a very warm welcome to you. Before we start talking about what drives innovation in business, let's get a bit of context if we can. DarkChild Productions, the Pride Group, let's get the background.
Right. Thank you very much. Good to be here. So DarkChild Productions, first of all, the name, right? People are asking me, hey, how did you come up with this? So DarkChild Productions is actually a producer in the music industry. Back in the 90s, artists like Brandy, back then Destiny's Child, before Beyonce became Beyonce, there was a guy every time all of the music that he has produced started to be like DarkChild, and I just thought it sounded so cool.
Got a nice ring, yeah.
Yeah, it had a nice little ring, and I was like, okay, maybe we can have a little DarkChild Productions, which is what we do. And at the time, you're starting a company, and you're not even too sure where it's gonna go. You didn't do commerce, you don't know anything about a company, so you just kind of like, you're playful. You're just going with the flow. And yeah, it was 2004 when I decided I'm not a corporate man. I was just not feeling like it's something that I want to do and follow rules, and I just wanted to do something. And I remember saying it to myself, I would do anything to get half my salary as long as I do what I'm passionate about. And at the time, basketball was my everything. Like I breathed, ate basketball, and I wanted to do something that I felt something we could grow. So DarkChild Productions was born, and that was 2004 actually. And since then, it's been growing.
And a lot of ventures since then, obviously.
A lot of ventures. And yes, sometimes when you start something, they say passion sometimes doesn't pay the bills. And I could not see how I'll be able to have a sustainable business in the basketball industry, especially in South Africa. I mean, in the US, you can create like a really formidable business. But in South Africa, it was, it had a dependency on the federation itself to do well. So if the federation was doing well and the sport was growing, you were going to do well because you're just one individual. But the federation wasn't doing well, and it just felt like I needed to expand it a little bit and do other things. And within DarkChild Productions, we decided we're not just going to be a basketball activation business. I've got a marketing background. I'm a chartered marketer. And I felt I could, with the background that I had in the research industry, I could help some companies in the consulting business.
One of the words that you've just used is rules. In order to be innovative, to be entrepreneurial, do you have to break the rules?
You have to. Everybody that conforms by the rules means, you're just going to get in and find things the way they are and leave them exactly how they are.
So how have you broken the rules?
So first of all, no one understood how I'm going to build a business around basketball. I did not have a business plan. I did not care about that. All I had was my mind and my heart, my passion. And I mean, the sport has been growing globally. Boys and girls, men, women play the sport. And outside South Africa, here in Africa, it's the second biggest sport.
How does an entrepreneur know when to break those rules?
I think for me, it was more of the frustration in the corporate world. It just wasn't me. It didn't feel like I'm home and I'm settled and I want to grow with, grow with title. I just wanted to feel free. I wanted to feel like I could do whatever it is that I imagine. And that for me was the driving factor. It wasn't about, like what I've seen frustrates other people as well is that within the corporate world, you could come up with an idea and this, that, and the other. If your senior or somebody that you report to is not feeling it, maybe it's a good idea and it doesn't go anywhere, and that would frustrate me. And in a world where you can think it, you can do it, is what for me was driving.
In a world where you can think it, you can do it, and part of it is having an understanding, an appreciation, an application of technology. That is critical. So when it comes to driving innovation in business, how important in your experience has technology been?
It's been everything. First of all, you can only do so much as a human being in the space where you are. And technology take you to the world. You can exchange ideas. You can use technology to be able to access a whole lot more people. I mean, what happened with WhatsApp, what happened with Facebook, what's happening with now the FIBA platform in the world of basketball 3x3, which has now become an Olympic sport. Just communication. So technology is everything. Like everything that you can imagine, we had like an individual, like we had a computer, we had you had to go to the bank, you had to print, all of that stuff has now been reduced to just one phone.
So to the entrepreneurs that are watching our conversation today, define for them, explain to them how they should approach that relationship to technology.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are afraid of it, or they don't see the value in it, or they don't use it properly.
So here's a simple example, right? In a world where you don't want to embrace technology, WhatsApp can change your world financially, right? So you're not buying minutes. It's at its simplest form. You're not buying minutes to make a call, which is an expensive. I don't even remember how much cost per minute is. But you buy data, you can call, you can transact, you can create groups where you can communicate something once, everybody knows exactly what's going on. So you have to embrace technology so that you are able to do so much more in a short space of time. So that is just one small, very simple example, but it changes everything.
And Cabby, it's not just embracing technology, because I think that's a given these days. The reality is if you don't have an appreciation and an understanding of technology, you are at a disadvantage. I think the challenge is to make sure that you keep up with technology all the time. I see you nodding your head. How do you do that?
So, unfortunately, ignorance is a reality. Sometimes we have these things called cell phones, and we don't even use probably more than 50% of its power. So,
bit of WhatsApp, bit of Google, bit of Facebook, that's it.
a bit of banking,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it all depends how
Don't forget
much,
Uber Eats, yeah.
you know what I mean? So I think really conversations that are happening amongst peers, they get to tell you about stuff that you don't know. And really it's about when you hear it, you must try it. Like I was recently, I don't know everything about technology. I mean, my age is giving, not to give up my age, but, like every so often somebody would propose an app, and the one app, can't remember its name, where people can actually network. Now you can just, walk into a room, virtually walk into a room and become part of the networking session. And you can choose what kind of networks you want to be a part of. I did not know that. But when I actually read about what the app does, I was like, actually, this is pretty cool. So if I can do it, and I meet somebody that could eventually lead me to more business or some sort of a collaboration, that on its own is what technology can do for you.
It's a different conversation, but don't let's underestimate the power of the network. Absolutely critical when it comes to innovation. Again, back to the topic, driving innovation in your business. What's your definition of innovation?
So innovation is exactly that. It's when you can walk into a world and then come back with a totally different world on the other side. And essentially, that's how you change lives. That's how you change the world. So to me, it really, and you don't actually have to be the innovator. You just have to.
You got to curate those ideas. Yeah.
Exactly.
Good research.
Good research. Yeah. Pull whatever it is that is legally possible to be able to use, share the information, and actually make it work for your business.
So you're on a constant curve of ideas.
Constantly.
So as you wake up in the morning, as you're engaging, as you're thinking, you've got to keep ideating. Am I right? And
find the technology that will help you realize that dream. And that's really where the technology comes into play. So the innovation doesn't necessarily it's not necessarily about somebody who always comes up with the next coolest app. or the next best phone or whatever, the next best this, that, and the other. Really, innovation is pulling all these elements and bringing them together so that life in general for yourself and for people around you becomes easier and better.
With the understanding that it doesn't matter if you fail. You can have so many ideas and you'll develop it to a point. Some of them might never get beyond the phase or the stage of ideas, but that's okay, isn't it?
You don't focus on failure. Failure is not an option. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. It's not really about failing. Every time something doesn't work out, you've learned why it didn't, and you'll try do it differently next time. So as an entrepreneur, you do not fail. You can only learn. So I don't know where
even if it hurts.
Even if it hurts. Most of the time it hurts. But you gotta
and
learn.
Financially too.
All emotionally, financially, in every which way. I don't even know how many businesses have failed, but I don't focus on that. That's not how I think. When they fail, and you deal with that emotion, and then you learn from it, and then you keep it moving.
So it's all very well to be an individual innovator. That's important. But when you are within an organization, it's also critical, I imagine, to allow your employees to become innovators themselves. How then do you create a culture of entrepreneurial innovation within an organization?
In my nature, the kind of person that's detached. I do not hold my business as if it's my baby. So what I do is I empower everyone to be able to make the decisions, fail at them, and be okay with the fact that you failed, because I failed myself. So I don't go to the office. All I do is every Monday we have our status meeting, and everybody gets to say what it is that they've done last week, what it is that they're doing this week, and what they think they need to do to change and better the company. And I give them carte blanche to do it however way they want to.
With the understanding that they might not get it right, they might not do it because you're giving them a lot of freedom, or they might get it wrong.
So even if I had to do it, I might not get it right myself. So why am I expecting them to get it right all the time? So I failed myself. So why would I want to, or why would I expect them to just be perfect in what it is that they do? The nature of how I manage is, in your own space at your own time, do the best you can for your business. I do not operate out of fear, and I don't want them to operate out of fear. No one is ever wondering whether they'll still have a job or not. The job will always still be there. It's just that out of your own heart, you need to know you must do the job and you must do it right the best you can, and you must try and find ways to add value and innovate to make it better.
And also, when the idea pays dividends, to incentivize or to reward that great thinking.
Absolutely. And that also, like I'd like to think that people always want to better their lives. So essentially, when the business does better, everybody else should do better, and not necessarily individually to you, because if you're the person who made it work, maybe an idea popped up when you were speaking to somebody else, and you just happened to be the person that took it to the next level. So everybody must enjoy the benefit of the whole thing coming together.
You said to me at the beginning of this answer that you don't hold the business close to your heart, if I understood you correctly. And you've got to allow people to innovate and to do what they have to do. Difficult, though, for an entrepreneur to do that, particularly if they have developed and built that business from nothing, have gone through the failures, and are finally seeing the success. It does take a bit of courage to let go, doesn't it?
Earlier on, you do hold on, but I've been in business since 2004. At some point, you also just want to relax and enjoy life. So right now, what drives me is it's not really the money or the things that I want in life. It's really just the freedom, the time, and enjoying life. So what you do is you empower people to do what it is that you would have been doing back in the day, and you get to enjoy the life.
I'm much older than you are, and I absolutely agree with you that the most important commodity, the older you get, is time. You have no idea. And if the entrepreneurs that are watching us today take that lesson away, I think that's absolutely critical. Cabby, thank you so much. Some valuable life lessons, and I do appreciate you joining me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.